to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 4, Episode 13.
Or Episode 83 if you're counting.
Hooray!
Hooray, yeah, hooray!
We, if you're here live with us, you just heard Lost Soldier. Yes, it was from Sailor Moon. It was specifically originated in a lot of the old, really super ugly Sailor Moon musicals.
Well, no, the music was good. The costumes were awful!
But then it did eventually make its way over into, from what I read, it's episode 88 of the animated series that originated in 1992. I guess by then it was probably 93-ish.
At that point it would be an R, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's an S, or Super S.
Okay, it's in one of those. The later letters of the alphabet.
I don't care.
You care a little.
I care a
You
little.
like that song.
Yeah, I do like that song, and also the choreography.
We'll send you guys a link to that later. The choreography was not very good in the early 90s.
If you're not here with us live, then you don't have any earthly idea what we're talking about, and you're watching us on YouTube, and you should be down here 9 o'clock on Thursday nights, that's Central Time. It's always a good time, and then after the show, you can always hang out with us longer and do Q&A stuff. And for those of you who contribute toward us on Patreon, we thank you very, very much for keeping this alive and helping to make other projects come into fruition as well. I'm very happy to say I'm just about done with a request review that had been requested a long time ago, which means I can get to finally the other requested reviews and Ralph Bakshi stuff. So I'm excited to get those out. So
yes.
Yay!
And we just got the commentary track out for Throne of Atlantis.
Yes, we did. So that's a free commentary track for those of you who are $5 and up contributors. We had a request for Flashpoint Paradox,
which we happen to have right here.
Yeah, so who was it who messaged me? Somebody directly messaged me, somebody who frequently comes in here and might even be in here right now, and I'm not entirely sure. But, yep, there it is. We got it, so we will definitely do the commentary track of Flashpoint Paradox as well. So
because it was a good movie.
It is, from what you tell me, a very good movie.
Yes.
So what's going on, Josh?
Well, like some weeks, I'm mad.
Why are you mad, Josh?
Alright, so friggin' Gotham, alright?
Okay, the show's over. Alright, he's mad. It makes sense, right?
Yeah. No, it's like, we talked, I mentioned it at length last week about, they're going to pretty hardcore introduce the Joker this week, and they did, and it's the thing that upsets me about this show so much. There is no subtlety. None whatsoever. Mm-hmm. There's no nuance. Everything is straight in your face reference. Not even nods. Like the Flash and Arrow, they do nods. Easter eggs. Something that keeps the audience entranced. Keeps older fans like, you know what? I know what they're talking about. I know what they're referencing. That's great. Gotham, they might as well have a guy with a bullhorn going around. This is Edward Nygma. He's gonna be the Riddler. Riddler. This guy's gonna be the Penguin. You get it? We said Penguin. Again. He's got an umbrella. He has one of those. Like, every week it's like that. And then it was no different this week with Jerome. This show's version of the Joker, where it's like, he's already the Joker. He's already got the laugh. He's already got the smile. The only thing that's missing from him is puberty and face makeup. Like, what the friggin' hell?
I don't know, Josh. You're very, very upset. And I didn't watch the episode.
I know.
I kind of heard it in the background, and I was like, man, somebody really wants to be the Joker back there. I don't know what's going on.
And that's kind of the thing that upsets me. Aside from the fact that, yeah, I believe that the Joker shouldn't have any one set backstory, the dude's rendition was actually good. Mm-hmm. Like, I would believe him as the Joker. He's just too early. He's too friggin' early. I don't need this. Not right now.
Well, you know what? We just plain don't need Gotham, and yet you keep watching it. You keep giving them the ratings that they crave, and they're going to keep making more.
I have a problem. I have a problem.
All right, so
I'm fully willing to admit I have a problem.
Okay. Well, that's a start.
That's a start. Monster Hunter is going well.
Yeah, we could be doing better. We could actually be playing with more people.
Yeah, it's just scheduling conflicts this week. I hope other people have gotten their copies too. I understand a lot of people were waiting for copies to be mailed this week, and some people are having a little bit of problem with UPS. But it's all worth it to start off and work towards that first Jaggy armor.
Jaggy.
Forget
it.
The dinosaur armor. The dinosaur thing.
Jaggy.
Yaggy?
Yeah, Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear armor. Yes, I'm going to hunt Yogi Bear. I'm going to lay a picnic berry basket for him.
Okay, in any case, so we do actually have actual things to talk about today.
Oh yeah, we have a story.
Yeah, we have a few of them. So, you might remember, last week or so, we were like, hey, Square Enix is gonna do a thing. What is that thing? Well, they announced that thing is an arcade version of Final Fantasy Dissidia, or as they actually call it, Dissidia.
We just call it Quesadilla.
We always call it Quesadilla. And we'll talk more about what that looks like, what that gameplay is supposed to be like, and speculate on whether or not we will ever actually see it here in the West.
Our second story of the evening, we had talked a little bit as well on the idea that Neil Blomkamp, who's worked on, of course, District 9, Elysium, and now Chappie coming out next month, was going to be supposedly working on an Alien project that may or may not have gotten off the ground. Well, this week, 20th Century Fox confirmed, yes, that is a project that is currently being worked on. So we're going to talk about that, how many of the old cast members are going to come back, and certain ideas that he has for that.
Very interesting. And then finally, as you might have seen from our tweet, there is a Sailor Symphony that is looking into Kickstarter. In fact, they're on Kickstarter and looking to come to Los Angeles or maybe go to other locations to perform music straight out of the Sailor Moon anime series, and then pick up also other pieces of music that they need to acquire licensing for in order to play it for the general public. So, thought that was very interesting. Thought we could share that with you guys as well.
Yes. But before we do that, we got follow-ups.
Yeah,
we got follow-ups. Yeah, a lot of follow-ups. Okay, so first and foremost, this was interesting. As some of you have probably been watching, Power Rangers Dino Charge just started airing over on Nickelodeon. First episode's already come out. Second episode should be this weekend. A Instagram post earlier in the week was only posted for a little bit, and then they took it down really quick from the official Power Rangers Instagram. And it has a picture of 4 of the original Rangers and the next up Yellow Ranger, making a full 5 team from the original Mighty Morphin. With the caption, we can see them say it's Morphin time one more time when they team up with a new team of Rangers. Hashtag Power Rangers, hashtag Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, hashtag Dino Charge. Now, the thing about this is that there has been little to no discussion about whether or not footage that was filmed from Super Sentai with the Kyoryuger team-up movie, which had the Kyoryugers team up with their previous Dino-related Sentai teams, was going to get adapted over here or not. The closest we ever got was news that Austin St. John was kind of sort of in talks with Saban to come back in some way, shape, or form. This lends credence to the idea that they are in fact going to adapt that crossover movie.
But what would they do with the movie? Would they actually make a movie, or would they chop it up and put it into episodes?
They'd probably turn it into a 2-part episode, which isn't that hard to do. They've done it before with other Sentai movies. They just kind of chop up the footage and then, 2-part. It's easy.
Yeah.
Or take an idea that was done in Super Sentai and then just really, really cut it down and make a 30-minute episode. That's not too hard. Now, given the lineup that they show here, they show Jason, Zach, Kimberly, Billy, and Aisha. Of course, the closest you can get to the original Rangers. Now, for the most part, 4 out of the 5 of them tour pretty regularly on the con circuit now. They're aware of their fans. They like, meet and greets, things like that. The only one who doesn't really get out all that much is Amy Jo Johnson, although she did do...
She had the closest thing resembling a career after that, I would say.
Hold off on that. Some people are getting ahead of me, too. She's not the only one. She's not the only one. But basic bottom line, are they going to do this? This makes me hopeful. I would like to see them again. A lot of people would like to see the original suits re-embodied again by the people we grew up watching.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that's something that ends up panning out later on down the road for Dino Charge.
Sure.
In other news, of course, we covered Ghost in the Shell, the movie, of course, being adapted over here, and Scarlett Johansson got cast as, you know, the lead role.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently there's a couple of fans out there who are not happy about that casting.
Oh, no, a lot of people, when we talked about it, weren't happy with it, despite the fact that we made an argument thinking she would be totally capable, whether she was ethnically the right role or not. I think she'd be a very capable version of the character, you know?
Yes. And apparently there's already 28,000 people who have signed an online petition to get Scarlett Johansson out of that role.
I guess to some people it really is that important, and I get wanting to, we're in this moment of tension in this country, I think.
Yeah.
That screams, stop whitewashing everything, blah, blah, blah. Although, you know, as a fictional character, as a character that her shell, as Ghost in the Shell would have implied, could be anybody, and she has been in many bodies throughout the course of both the manga and the anime. Some people, I guess, find this very, very important. It is true that at least one of her casings has been an Asian body. So, her name, of course, is Asian. That is true as well. I don't know whether they would whitewash her name. If they were going to completely whitewash her name, that would probably be offensive.
I don't think they would do that. I think if they were to explain it the way we thought about it, you know, she's had several cases before and shows them, you know, like, hey, I was previously in this body, this body, this body, then that would pretty much cover your base right there.
Yeah, exactly. As far as a petition is concerned, most of the time, petitions don't work. Like, when was the last time you heard about a petition making a difference in anything? Because petitions don't talk. Money talks. And
right.
So, if you're gonna come up with money and then get a fully capable Asian actress, and you're going to, like, sway the directors or the producers with extra money to choose somebody else, then that's the only thing that they're gonna hear. They're not gonna hear a petition.
Well, it's because petition-wise, like, I can't tell you how many petitions I've signed that I thought would help bring Young Justice back on to the air, but that's not...
I told you petitions don't mean jack. Only money matters. I don't like it.
Oh, I don't like it either. I'm missing Young Justice Season 3 like so many other people are.
That's not the point.
So, yes, there's that going on. Moving on to other news, Jessica Jones, or AKA Jessica Jones, has cast a couple more people in varied roles. We have Erin Moriarty, Will Trevall, and Eka Darville. And like some people have been bringing up here in the chat, Eka Darville is a former Red Ranger who's actually been doing pretty well. He was on Terra Nova there on Fox, and he's also been in the originals on CW and Empire, so he's actually one of the more well-off former Rangers.
Interesting.
Which was nice, looking back to Power Ranger Samurai when they had the crossover episode. He couldn't come back to play the RPM Red Ranger, but at least he lent his voice back to the character. And
that's nice.
For me, that's enough.
Nice.
If you're at least able to lend your voice, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can at least get you in a sound booth, and then fans who are watching be like, yep, that's the guy. That's the voice I remember.
Yep.
So I'd say, you know, good on him. The Jessica Jones cast looks like it's really rounding out here. Of course, this will be the next thing that they put on after Daredevil, which we've already gotten a trailer for, and that will be coming up very shortly. So, yeah, that's looking very exciting. In other news, you've heard us talk about the upcoming Superhero Tyson Kamen Rider 3 inclusive movie that's coming out. Well, a couple of web movies will be released alongside it in introducing another evil-looking writer, Kamen Rider 4.
Guy who they've just made up out of thin air, I guess?
Yeah, this guy is flat out made up out of thin air. There was no manga precedent for this. He just is now.
He just exists. And I guess he's also a bad guy? What?
Well, the way it looks is he's more than likely a bad guy, kind of like I said, 3 is more or less looking like a bad guy.
This pose he's making, and in this outfit, like, I get that he's supposed to be, because he was, in between, they're pretending he was in between Skyrider and...
Well, they're saying, chronologically, in this alternate timeline that apparently the movie has, he would be the writer that succeeds 3. But clearly, based off certain design elements, yeah, I can see why you would say Skyrider.
Because he plainly looks like a plane bomber,
a fighter pilot,
and it's too bulky, and he's making kind of a fighter pose, but at the same time, he's so bulky that, like, it's non-threatening to me.
And I'll link the picture, that way some of you guys can see that.
Only the helmet looks threatening, and the rest of him...
Well, the thing is, the helmet right there is what blatantly looks like he's based off Rider Man, because Rider Man is the only Rider to ever have his mouth exposed, and there, granted, it's kind of a Super Sentai painted over mouth, but it's a mouth nonetheless.
Uh-huh.
So, really, I'm not happy with it. I don't think they need it. I didn't think we needed 3, but hey, excuse me, it's making me sick.
Drink the tea.
I'll drink the tea. Whew. But yeah, there you go. We've added another make-believe writer into this movie. Let's see, moving on to other news. No, not that. Screw that. We have a confirmation that July will be the date that we get the North American release for the PS3 Godzilla game.
I thought we knew that.
Yeah, I know, but they're making it sound like it's a new thing. I don't know why.
So then why are we talking about it? Like, we knew already, right?
Well, we knew. It's just, the weird thing about it is they won't say what day in July. They just say July.
Okay, so this isn't news at all. Got it. Alright.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. There were certain things posted in the news this week that weren't really news. This is one of them. The other thing being, which I was going to bring up, this Final Fantasy Type 0 HD trailer, which you say has actually been out for a while?
Well, it's been out for 1 to 2 weeks, and now all these news outlets are like, 3 days ago, hey, this is a brand new trailer, and it also features the trailer for the demo to Final Fantasy 15, and it's like, alright, I saw that already. Thanks.
Well, because it's to say, normally we like to run with stories that are within the last week, you know, something that's fairly new, but the weird thing is these outlets are running with stories that are kind of old.
Yeah,
so it's a little weird. That tells me it was a slow news week.
It had to have been. That and the different companies, Bandai Namco and Square Enix, they themselves are releasing these trailers and these pieces of information as if they're news.
Right.
Because they want the attention. There's nothing else going on. That's all it is.
Right. Which, really, if you don't have anything new to say, don't say anything at all.
I guess.
And a lot of people have talked about it, and I do want to mention again, since we mentioned a bit of Sentai up front, this week, Zyuranger is now officially out.
Yes.
The North American subtitled release by Shout Factory is now available. You can get it on Amazon, Walmart.com. We have yet to see one in stores, but it's going to be about $40 to $50 depending on where you get it. Please get out there if you guys are fans, or you're just interested in seeing where Power Rangers came from. I highly recommend you get out there, watch this thing, and see how very different it is from the American incarnation.
I'm not really a Sentai person, but man, Zyuranger is amazing. Zyuranger is totally
yes, it is.
Especially when you see the dichotomy between what you thought this show was and what it actually is, if you were introduced to it through Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So,
and Shout Factory said hopefully if this does well, they'll release other Sentai series over here.
That would be fantastic.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
fantastic.
This would be a renaissance, to put it mildly. Like, I know it's not a Super Sentai series, but if they released B-Fighter over here, what we used as stock footage for Beetleborgs, it would blow people's minds.
Earth-shattering.
Yes.
Earth-shatteringly different. That and VR Troopers got their footage from, what, Kikaider?
No, it was
not Kikaider.
Metalder,
Metalder,
Spielbahn, and it was just right there.
It's okay. Don't waste too much. Don't waste too
much.
Time
I'll get back to you guys. I'll get back to you guys. But yes,
Wikipedia will tell you exactly.
Wiki will tell you. Let's get to our first story.
All right. So I've got buttons, and they need to be pressed, and it's probably this one. Yes, it's this one.
Hi, Cloud.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had a different picture, but so Dissidia.
Final Fantasy Dissidia.
So we reported, like I said earlier at the top of the show, last week, that Square Enix was unveiling something, and it was going to be an arcade game, and they had like pictures of sprites from all these different generations of Final Fantasy games, and I was like, look, there's Mr. Chupon! Funga! And I was like, so what's this supposed to be? And we were scared it was going to just be like touchscreen arcade all the bravest. And that wasn't it. As it turns out, it was this thing, Dissidia Final Fantasy, and it's an arcade version. As many people might know, there were 2 previous PSP iterations of Dissidia that had been released.
Dissidia and Dissidia Duodecim, or as we call them, Quesadilla and Quesadilla Dewey Decimal.
Dewey Decimal. And both are interesting. They're fun enough. You know, it's all fluff. There's absolutely nothing important about them at all whatsoever. In fact, I remember we were having this discussion as I was playing it, and I was trying to play through different characters' stories in the first game. And we were comparing Dissidia to Kamen Rider Decade.
Right.
As far as, you know, jamming a bunch of characters together and then trying to make a story out of it, because it doesn't work. It doesn't freaking exist. And so I get to this cutscene, right, and I think it was, main character dude from 2. I have to admit, I never beat Final Fantasy 2. 2 was kind of boring to me. Good battle system and all. Very, very clever, but very grindy and kind of boring. All the same, though. So there's like 2 other characters asking main character dude from 2, who's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, like, oh, so what is it you're out here looking for and fighting for? You know what? I don't really know. And I'm just realizing there's not a story here. You couldn't try to put a story.
Wait, was it Bart's?
No, cause Butts is from 5.
No, okay.
Bart's is from 5. Yeah, Furion. Furion is from 2. No, Butts is from 5.
Gotcha.
I call him Butts thanks to a fan translation patch that had to suffice me before they finally released an English translation of 5 many, many years ago. And I just realized there's no story to be had here. So clearly all you're getting from the Dissidia arcade machine is probably a whole bunch of fights, and the fights looked like Dissidia fights. The thing that made them cool, though, is that it looked like it was 3-on-3, so I'm hoping that actually means that it's 3 people versus 3 people, and not like you're the one dude and you're controlling 3 dudes.
I imagine that's how it's gonna work, though. You know, a little bit more like, say, Marvel vs. Capcom, where you're switching out characters.
I don't know, because in Japan, they actually have enough cabinets for everybody to sit down at, you know, a candy cabinet and have 3 versus 3 matches. So if this were to come over to the States, I don't see that happening. I don't see 3 versus 3 matches
First and foremost,
happening.
let's talk about whether or not this would actually make its way over here.
It would, but it would have to be console only. There is no way. I absolutely don't see it making an arcade release here in the States. Our arcade scene is far too dead. And the only place where
it's not completely dead.
The only place that's getting life breathed into it at all is very sadly inside of Dave and Buster's.
And Main Event.
And somewhat Main Event. And I don't think many people around here would know what Main Event is. I'm pretty sure Main Event is a Texas thing. And if it's not Texas, it's small branch someplace else.
And some movie theaters.
They're not very up to date. Movie theaters aren't up to date. maybe occasionally you see H2 Overdrive and the Batman new, I get to drive the Batmobile. And
that game is sweet.
That game's amazing. But
that game is sweet.
But I'm telling you, like, you get that, you get some of the new Terminator or Alien rail shooters. Like, they're fine enough games, but they're not really new, hip, happening, we're right on top of this crap kind of games. Our arcade.
But you do think it would still.
Dead.
But you still think it would make its way over here then with a dead scene?
No, not in arcades. If it made its way over here, it would have to be console only, and it would probably only be for a handheld system like PSP or PS Vita. I absolutely do not see it hitting US arcades.
Well, there goes that idea.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, like, they gave us a trailer. It's only about maybe a little less than 2 minutes. And they show...
Some people are bringing up GameWorks. GameWorks completely dried up and died in Texas. Went back...
Well, at least here.
No, in Texas. The one in Dallas is gone.
They closed that one?
They closed that one years ago.
I didn't know they closed that one.
They closed that one only a handful of months after they closed the San Antonio location.
Oh, man.
Yeah, GameWorks is freaking dead. The only places it's still alive, like, I guess the Seattle one, the one outside of Phoenix. That one.
You guys support your local arcades. Really.
Seriously.
Support your local arcades. But, you know, this trailer shows, you know, there's certain people you can play as, you know, your favorites. You can play as Cloud from 7, or Terra from 6, or female Cloud from 13.
Hey, Ishtal from 14 is freaking amazing.
I didn't play.
You've seen her. I walked you through enough gameplay. You've seen her.
Wait, is she that chick that's always showing up in the cutscenes?
Well, she's one of them. Yes.
Okay, then I've met her, I guess.
Yeah,
okay.
You've seen her.
Well, yeah, there you go.
I'm sure there's more characters than just these running around that you would get to unlock.
Well, see, that was the thing about Dissidia to begin with, is that you were mainly only playing as main characters from any of the different installments.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would think to get more people in, though, they would have to create, or rather bring in more sprites of more fan-favorite characters, like some people bringing in. Yeah, I would play the hell out of Vincent in this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, that just... To me, that's a given. You want to market this thing, you got to make sure you got characters.
I would imagine what they would best make money with would be like many other arcade games where they'll spit out a card and you can save data on that card and start earning points to unlock things. Like, I can't tell you how much money I blew on the Gundam Pod game just to unlock new mobile suits and new pieces of armor to equip, and I was like, I'm gonna get Char's Red Zaku, I'm gonna freaking get the Red Comet, oh my god! And I got real close, and then I had to leave Japan. And
that sucks.
I was heartbroken, but yeah, I would imagine that would be a friggin' smart thing to do. You can, as it is in Dissidia, you can already level your characters up, equip them. You basically do fight level grinding, and
right.
I'm surely if you just had one of those cards and kept throwing some money at that machine, then you can level your characters up, equip stuff, unlock other characters. Like, I think that would be kind of amazing, except I'm not the biggest fan of Dissidia, but you know, for fan service's sake, like, I get it.
Yeah. Now the thing about, again, with this trailer is this hillside where all these battles are taking place on, that's not anywhere in particular, right? This is just random.
That kind of go back a few frames, actually. That castle there, I'm gonna dare say that it's trying to be from Final Fantasy 1. Like, it's still it's so 3D you can't tell because Final Fantasy 1 was so flat.
Right.
But my guess is that it thinks it wants to be Final Fantasy 1's Kingdom of Guardia or whatever.
Well, I'm thinking, because this trailer only shows the one real battle location. If they're going to make this thing big, again, not only do you need characters, you need locations that look recognizable to fans
they released, like, the most friggin' bare bones possible trailer that they could have possibly pulled out of thin air.
Well, because I'm thinking about it, because we always try to make those comparisons between your fandom, Final Fantasy, and mine, A Common Rider. Mm-hmm. You think back to Bat Ride War, both versions, when those trailers come out, they're fighting on the flattest wasteland you could think of, because... yeah, we're spending all of our money on sprites here at Bandai Namco, and we don't want to actually build
but at least your trailer was
locations.
Like pre-rendered cutscenes, and like they spent a lot of time on it. This is like, all right, we took the character models we already had, all right, we put them on maybe one new piece of scenery, and then we removed the HUD. And so it looked like it was clean. Like, you're looking at battle footage, you're looking at what appears to be gameplay, but at the same time, you're not seeing how gameplay actually works because you can't see the HUD. You can't see how battle works. You're just seeing magic flying, and people are flying, and so it just looks like, oh, extreme anime battles! And I'm just like, well, I'm only so impressed. And we put the first guy against the most famous guy number 1 versus guy number 7.
Yeah.
I don't actually care that much.
But you do want to see this make its way over here, though, don't you?
I could take it or leave it. Dissidia is totally not my spin-off.
You'd rather, put the money in for 15, then.
Yes, because I want there to be, finally, after all these years, let's hurry up and get to 15 because we've been waiting. Oh, when did 14 first come out? Like 5 years ago or more? I can remember a time when Final Fantasy was coming out every 2 years, and now 5 years later we're getting a demo? Like, what is this crap? And it was originally supposed to be a spin-off of a game that came out, 8, 9 years ago.
How old's the cat?
Oh, my cat's old. No, let's not have this discussion.
No, I'm saying the cat's as old as you've been waiting for 15.
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, yes, I would rather see 15 come out, even though I'm very scared and nervous for its existence. Very wary. But we'll at least see how that demo pans out next month.
Based off that, I can see why you'd be also wary about this.
Yes?
Well, because as a whole, a lot of time on this show, we talk about how Square, the way they handle Final Fantasy, only seems to shock and awe you how bad they can handle it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, every single day, it's like they manage to impress me with how much farther they drive their own franchise into the ground. It's amazing. Absolutely fascinating thing to watch. Like, in that sense, I'm actually dead serious. Fascinating to watch it go into a tailspin and just burn out in a glorious blaze and then crash into a mountainside.
Well, do you think this will help them out, though? Putting this out in arcades there in Japan, where they still have a very large arcade scene, just throw some 100 yen coins at it.
Well, it's a large arcade scene, but even they are kind of like, oh, we're faltering a little bit. Like, when we go, you're going to be like, this is amazing! But they're going to be like, yeah, you should have seen it 10 years ago. That's the kind of attitude they're going to have about it. So I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say whether or not this is even going to matter to anybody.
You don't think it'll be out by the time we go out there, do you?
Because we're estimating getting out there in September. We might see, because we're planning on going to the Tokyo Game Show. You might see something there at Tokyo Game Show about it.
Here's hoping.
Sometimes you get to get your hands on some things, but usually Tokyo Game Show is for console and PC gaming and typically not arcade gaming. Although that's not entirely true. I did get to play kind of a briefly demoed version of DDR Supernova over at the Konami booth back in 2006. So some arcade consoles do get out there, but like Square Enix typically has an enormous booth, and it's just for friggin' Kingdom Hearts. You'll see this big old friggin' rectangle that's the size of a house, and it's all for Kingdom Hearts, and people waiting to look at Kingdom Hearts. It's kind of stupid, but...
So maybe. Got it.
So maybe.
Okay. Okay, that's good enough for me.
Sounds good.
D is for Dissidia. That's good enough for me. Okay, moving on.
Wow.
So...
I shouldn't let you speak. Okay, I need you to speak.
Yeah, you need to speak, otherwise people are going to think they dropped audio. Okay, so moving on to our second story. You guys recognize Mr. Xenomorph over here. So, yeah, news was going around a while back that Neil Blomkamp, who of course has done amazing sci-fi works like District 9, the not-so-great Elysium, but the very hopeful-looking Chappie coming out next month. This guy is a visionary.
Yeah,
this guy
I agree.
Is great with visuals, of course. He's getting better at storytelling. Chappie looks really good. And in Chappie, you know, he's got people like Hugh Jackman and also Sigourney Weaver. And apparently he had talked with her a little bit about plans that he had for his take on an Alien movie. And like we said at the top of the show, 20th Century Fox has confirmed, you know what? That's legit. We're actually doing this. We are moving forward with your idea for an Alien sequel. Now, that's the important thing to remember here, sequel. This isn't another reboot. This isn't an offshoot. We are following in the Alien franchise. It's not like this pseudo-Prometheus sort of movie.
So, then, is it a sequel to Alien, or is it a sequel to Alien 3, or where does it fall?
That I'm not so sure of. We're still looking into it. If anything, it would follow after Alien Resurrection, if I'm not mistaken.
Or Resurrection, right.
Yes.
Right, that existed for some reason. Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst. Like, I think for a lot of people, Alien 3...
Well, it wasn't Prometheus, you're right. It wasn't Prometheus.
It wasn't Prometheus. Because I think as far as the pure Alien franchise is concerned, a lot of people kind of debate whether 3 was worse than Resurrection or Resurrection was worse than 3.
Right.
And... yeah, that debate can be had. You know, some people think, oh, well, one had a darker tone, one had a better budget, so, you know, the effects looked better. But, you know, you can debate back and forth. Either way, you kind of accept, well, those are all in the same line. That is Alien right there.
Very true.
And then we're not taking into account the offshoot Alien versus Predator movies, which are...
well, no, those are all blatantly just fan service-y kind of...
right.
schlock.
Kinda, yeah. It reaches schlock levels. Like, we tell this story over and over again. We have a friend that tells his own rendition of how Alien vs. Predator Requiem goes, and I wish we had a camera on him. I just wish you guys...
I think we did one time, but I couldn't save that footage. But he just is kind of a simple person and explains it very simply. All I can ever remember is the part where he gets up to, and then the kid with his dad... and then he got face-hugged, and then the kid was like, Daddy, I'm pregnant! And that's his explanation of how the kid got chest busted.
Yeah, so... it's none of that. None of that. He did, however, release pictures, Blomkamp did, of not really screenshots, just concept art for stuff that he was going to put in the movie, and... apparently he had Hicks coming back too, which makes me wonder, because, you know, you think, okay, well, where does this take place? And Hicks, as far as 3 is concerned, is dead. So I don't know if we're going to be dealing with another case of, like Ripley, they kind of brought him back to life somehow.
Because he's dead by the end of Aliens, right?
Well, no, they all got away in the pod at the end of Aliens, but at the beginning of Alien 3, they confirm he's dead.
That's where they confirm he's... okay, so
him and Newt died.
It could sit somewhere in between the two, if it really wanted to.
Yeah, and apparently Hicks is, like, hella scarred, like, almost Two-Face style.
Not sure how I feel.
Well, I mean, it could happen. You know, alien blood, of course, is very corrosive. That could have been how that happened. And then there's this really interesting... art that we have here of Sigourney Weaver's face, but with this odd, very xenomorph-looking sort of rig around her head. And I can't make heads or tails of what that's supposed to be, whether or not that's a suit, or whether or not,
well,
again...
No, look at the bottom right-hand side. Like, it's
right.
totally a mask. Yeah, it's a suit, for sure.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The pilot... tying back to the space jockey from... Which, of course, led to the Prometheus offshoot and that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I prefer that stay away from this, because... The worst thing Ridley Scott could have done, and some people agree on this, is try to tie Prometheus in to the Alien franchise harder than he needed to, because it could have just been its own thing.
Yeah, it could have, except it was very plain from the beginning, when the very first Prometheus trailers started to launch, that he was trying to recreate the trailer to Alien. They were, like, identical, with the same sound effects, the same choppy editing set to
the reveal of the title.
Yeah, it was very plain that he was like, get it? It's tied into Alien!
And then at the end, with the reveal of the Alien, that just felt so forced.
It was really forced. It was like, how do these things equate to Xenomorph? Where does this even come from? You just thought, I'm so clever, this is totally part of the Alien franchise. Here you go, fan service, it's an alien. Okay, thank you? I wasn't asking for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, the other thing, too, is that, far as I recall, Ridley Scott was still working on ideas for a Prometheus sequel, taking place after the events of the end.
Well, it's supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, so I wonder how if this bumps those plans at all, since that's still up in prequel territory,
It's
supposedly.
not gonna bump plans at all, because if it follows What's-Her-Face, she's gonna go off and do her own separate thing way off in the depths of space all by herself. So, like, it's not gonna touch anything.
Yeah.
And if it does, it'll be totally convoluted, and I will hate it.
Yeah, I would agree. Now, the thing about this is we can't confirm yet. We just know there's been minor talks between Sigourney Weaver and Blomkamp as to whether or not she will come back and reprise the role of Ripley. Could she do it? I don't see why not. Like we said earlier, she's working currently, or she finished work on Chappie as one of the main characters, so I don't see why she wouldn't. She, of course, is very accepting of all the fame that she got out of the Alien franchise.
Right.
Not that she wasn't doing well without it, it's just... that kind of helped boost things. Being one of the original strong female leads there in science fiction cinema, really. Mm-hmm. People harken back to that, oh, I wanted to be like Ripley when I grew up, get away from her, you bitch. Like, that's iconic. Mm-hmm. So, I would like to see something better done with the character, because, a lot of people didn't agree with the direction it took in Resurrection, where it's like, oh, well, she's kind of a hardcore badass now because she's been reborn, and it's like, I just kind of liked where she was tough. Yeah. And that was all it needed to be.
Yeah, tough was fine. Tough and still kind of apparent and human. Like, not...
Well, human, yeah, that was the...
Parent, but, had instinct of keep people alive.
Well, yeah, because that was the thing. More than anybody else... The thing that helped make her a hero in those movies, at least the first two, was that she had common sense. It's common sense for her to say, we need to nuke this place from orbit. Yeah, because why would you want that to continue?
Very true,
because that's the whole way it works in, really more so in Aliens, that she's the only one saying, why the hell are you going back there? Don't do that.
Yeah.
Why are they going down there unarmed? Don't do that.
Uh-huh.
Why aren't we nuking this place? We should do that. Like, I like that she was using her brain in that sense, using common sense to defeat this thing that really she can't wrap her mind around.
It's barely using your brain because it is common sense. It's more like, that episode of Reboot where...
everybody's dumb and Enzo's smart.
Enzo's like... I wish to be way smarter and way faster and blah, blah, blah. And he wishes for it, and he's like, aw, nothing changed. And then he goes outside, he looks outside, and everything is way, like everything's 8-bit, or no, 16-bit, I guess. and everyone is stupid. And he's
Right.
like, I didn't get smarter. Everybody else got dumber. And that's kind of what I see happening around her, is that she's just of normal human intelligence and everybody else is so stupid.
Well, yeah, because how many times can you repeat the whole, hey, we found a sample, bring it back, it doesn't matter, just do it, and then that goes wrong? I would at least hope he'd be smart enough not to make that mistake again. Because after a couple of movies of that, it's just like Spider-Man's origin. We don't need to see that anymore. We got it. It's covered. We're done. Let's see it from a new perspective. So hopefully this guy who's been bringing a new perspective to sci-fi will bring a new perspective to this known franchise.
Would be nice.
Here's hoping.
Would be nice. Fresh blood into old sci-fi franchises seems to be the running theme of 2015, I would say.
Here's hoping that
with
this
Star
pans
Wars,
out.
with Star Wars coming out
Yeah,
in
that
December, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, we're done.
All right,
with
yeah,
that.
we're done with that. So moving on to
Cinnamon.
dun, dun, dun.
Keep
Yeah,
going.
okay, got it.
Keep going.
Oh, right. Okay, so Sailor Moon Symphony is a 30-piece orchestra group that has been fan put together of people who love Sailor Moon but also have skill with different musical instruments. So what they've done is formed this orchestra to present Sailor Moon music to fans of the series. They've previously already done a concert in New York, which sold out within the first month, received rave reviews, and now they're looking to do another performance coinciding with the dates of Anime Expo this year. They currently have a Kickstarter, and I'm going to go ahead and link you guys to it. That way you can take a look and see if this is something that's up your alley. I know some of you might be out there in the LA area or just might be going out there for AX.
We do usually. Missed last year because we kind of sort of were getting married. That was a big thing.
That was kind of a thing. So these guys are looking to raise $7,500. They've got 55 days to go, and so far they've only raised $911. I think they can make it. We've talked about several different Indiegogos and Kickstarters on this show, and seen a good chunk of them reach their goal.
Yeah, of course.
And they're looking to, go ahead and make sure they get everything they need for this performance. The pledges would be covering the venue rental, instrument rental, musicians, recording of the performance, promotion, and of course the big money going to copyright licensing.
That I really appreciate, that they're going out to acquire the appropriate copyright licensing in order to perform these, and they're not just going out there and playing it because they can. I mean, it's already nice enough that they have learned it, and they're doing a pretty good job for being a fan-organized symphony. I heard a little flub here or there, but, it really wasn't that big a deal.
I've heard worse. I can honestly say I've heard worse.
And I think they could get bigger. I think they could get better. More opportunities to play in the public would certainly help. A tour for them would be nice. I don't know that that's...
Well, that's in their stretch goals.
Yeah, a future stretch goal would be a future North American tour. And
now, as we said, they're looking to raise, $7,500. If they reach $8,000, they will, like some people are asking for, play music from Sailor Moon Crystal. Medley from Crystal. At $9,500, they will add an additional concert to their performance out there in LA. And if they reach $11,000, they'll produce an album and a future tour. So if you guys want to see this other than just New York or LA, you got to kind of pitch in there.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see, because I look at it this way. I'm not as big of a fan of Final Fantasy as you are, but what I do appreciate is the music and being able to go out to those Dear Friend concerts there in Dallas or Houston or wherever and listening to that music. Yeah, it's nice seeing these people come together and play the music live, and you don't even have to... I mean, yeah, it helps, of course, if you know the context from the game, but just sitting there and listening to the music, it's a great experience. And for something like this, where Sailor Moon has a ton of fans, I think a lot more people would like to share in that experience, and hearing, certain battle themes again or opening themes, that's a great thing to share with people.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of fan concerts, maybe not there are a lot of official concerts that have been done, and that's the Nintendo concerts, the Zelda concerts, the Final Fantasy concerts. These
Video Games Live.
Like, these are their own niche things that are starting to get more and more concert events. And I think that Sailor Moon is definitely a very wide-reaching title, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
It absolutely brought a broader perspective of anime and manga as a whole to North America.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just the United States, but Canada as well. Like, I mean, with the Deke dub, I mean, clearly Deke is a Canadian. Their dub studio was in Canada.
If you go from the year 2000 and backtrack, what are the 3 top titles you can think of that helped boost the numbers of people who knew about anime? Gundam Wing, then you go back to DBZ, and then you go back to Sailor Moon.
Right.
Those titles, those major titles in the 90s, brought this huge exposure. And as such, yeah, there's a ton of people now who are either rewatching on Hulu right now the old episodes, or are still watching Season 2 of Crystal right now.
I talked about it before, before Sailor Moon got finally relicensed after being dead in the US for more than a decade, which I thought was absolutely friggin' amazing that Viz came in and swooped in and sweeped up all of this Sailor Moon, and that included friggin' Stars, the series that we never got in the United States. It was friggin' amazing. But despite its more than 10-year absence from the American market with no way of purchasing it or watching it legally anywhere, there were still, like, official products from Toei being sold in places like Hot Topic, and people were still clamoring for material of some kind, shirts and backpacks and all this other crap and toys and keychains and whatever. And I'm like, well, clearly the market's still here, it's still loud enough, and it still makes a buck. So this concert, I think, especially now with a Sailor Moon resurgence and renaissance,
yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
I think that this could do very well if enough people and the right people knew about it.
Well, yeah, because you look at it, there's any number of fan pages on any number of places, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Reddit, you know.
Old-ass GeoCity shrines!
Oh, you gotta go old on me.
Shrines!
GeoCities, Angel Fire sites with MIDI file.
Tripod.
Ah, no. Now you're going too far.
MIDI versions of, like...
Of Moonlight Densetsu playing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, yes, there's also perks, of course, to giving to this, Kickstarter. They have let's see here, early registration for seats, a chance to conduct the orchestra's encore. Like, I wish I could do that at what was the one we went to like 2 months ago?
It wasn't Dear Friends,
no, it was
but it was Final Fantasy, and it was they were touting it as a more intimate concert experience because they cut down the number of members in the orchestra, and it was a smaller venue where the music could resonate a lot better. And
it worked. It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
But of course, for the encore, they played One Winged Angel, and I would have loved, as a fan, to be the one conducting that. Like, I would have been all up in that. So, with a Sailor Moon...
Okay.
Like, imagine if you give to this thing, you could go out there, because you've been practicing with your automaton, Otome no Policy, the ending to R. You could go out there and solo with this if you gave enough to... I don't know if they'll let you solo, but if... See?
They wouldn't... No, I don't think I could pay them enough to let me play
Okay,
this.
maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't think that would happen.
They're also looking to make a making of documentary for this trip out to LA with the rehearsals and of course the performance itself. And yeah, I would like to see more things like this, you know, fan projects that of course want to go the extra mile and make themselves
become legit. Yeah.
Legit, you know, because yeah, that means a lot to me too. Seeing, no, we want to hold on to the copyright. We want to make sure we're going through the right channels to make sure people can come watch this and we can make a buck off it. That's incredible. Because there's any number of fan projects anywhere that are like, this is a fan project, please don't sue me. Like, that's the first thing that gets posted on the video is, this is a fan project, please don't, like, the disclaimer at the front of every Team 4-star DBZ abridged thing.
Or the beginning of, this is Otakudom, which, man, I don't think most people even know what that is anymore, but, this fan parody has been brought to you by the suffix ing, as in violating, and not suing, and copywriting, and forgiving.
Right, but the fact that they're doing this means they want to make sure other people can come to this thing. That way they can go ahead and promote with a clear conscience. Because how many fan projects do you know that, you know, just kind of, oh, this is parody, don't sue me, I didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it.
Well, I mean, you meant it, but it's like, you mean it insofar as you don't want to get into any legal trouble.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's parody, then you shouldn't be worried about it to begin with. But if you're legit, then you need to start worrying.
Right, exactly. And here, it's right there for you. You can go ahead and follow them here. They've got links to their Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook accounts. Right there, you can listen to one or two renditions of them. I recommend, I think it's the third video on the page, play that one. It's not bad. I've heard worse.
Oh yeah, much worse.
Because you can think of how many...
It's pretty close to professional. Not perfect, but definitely above high school.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've been to an anime convention, and there's always some guy in the hallway with his guitar trying to play, or some people kind of screwing around on the piano that they left unguarded there in the lobby.
Oh, I hate that.
And... once in a while, you'll get somebody who either knows how to play or has taught themselves how to play, like, the one song that they know. And sometimes, yeah, that's great to hear, and you wish you could hear more, but that doesn't always happen. Here, it's happening. They're trying to make it happen, and you guys can help them make it happen.
Yeah!
Yeah, so go on, do that. What's the lowest here? You can put $1. Come on, people, $1. You like Sailor Moon, you got $1. Come on. That gets you 3 tacos in LA at Jack in the Box.
Only during the 3 taco promotion.
Only during the 3 taco promotion.
Otherwise, it only gets you 2 tacos.
Yeah, but you could be 3 taco ballin' giving to this project.
But then you wouldn't have 3 tacos.
But then you'd have Sailor Moon music.
I'm done with you.
Alright, fine. Fine. You don't want to give taco money to Sailor Moon music, you don't have to.
No, I want to keep us within the restraints of the hour that we have on this program.
Oh, fine. Yay, alright, so, yeah, that'll be our last story. Again, thank you guys for coming out, listening to us, prattle on for another hour. You can come back next week, listen to us at the same time, 9 p.m. Central.
On Thursdays.
On Thursdays.
And hear us prattle on again. But if you're with us right now, definitely stick around with us because we're going to go on for another half an hour and you guys can talk to us and ask us questions and stuff. It'll be good, fun Q&A time. It'll be awesome.
And in the meantime, you can always talk to us during the week over on Twitter. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
So that having been said, that's been this week's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys next time.
Night.